Yo guys, this is +3 on War main, and the reason I'm making this video and probably linked it to you is because I get questions about Enhancement Shamans every single day, and I'm pretty sick of it, honestly. So I'm gonna go through a few things that you might need to know, or maybe you don't know, and I have a list right here. I'm gonna go through gems, glyphs, enchants, trinkets, and rotation. This video is gonna be probably around, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is gems, because that's a common question I get. Okay, so gems and trinkets kind of go together in one, because let's say you're playing, I don't know, Draenei or Orc or whatever. The hit cap, first of all, is around 12.84, I think. Basically 14%. But since I have 1% hit, the hit cap for me is 13%. So let's say 13%, right? So the hit cap is 14% melee, and spell is 17. I have 17.13, which is fine. It's around 420 you want in your hit, because it's the same, right? Spell and melee for enhancement is the same, so they always balance themselves out. Why gems go together with trinkets is because some people like to have the Tiny Abomination trinket from Professor 25man. And no, this is not best in slot. This is not a good trinket for enhancement. It's a good trinket if you want to go with full haste. Then it's a good trinket because you get 85 hit off of the trinket alone. And since you want to utilize the passive, the Emotive Anger passive, then yeah, you might want to go like full haste, like pure haste. What's it called? Quick yellow 20 haste. I haven't really tried out that build. It was a long time since I did it, but I can't recall that it was as good as my my normal current spec, which is just attack, power, and haste. So if you're going like me, if you want to copy me, then these two are best in slot. STS and Hakumi. So the reason why haste, pure haste, is bad with this spec is because you won't have enough auto attack damage to utilize your haste, right? Since, I don't know, let's say 35% of your base damage comes from auto attack anyway, your auto attack's not gonna do any damage. I talked to some guy for like a week ago, and he said his low damage was like, I don't know, like 1600, and his high damage was like 1800 or something, and he has just gem pure haste. The problem with that is that he did, I don't know, like 5.5k DPS on a dummy, which is really bad. But the reason why he's doing bad damage is because, well, he doesn't know the rotation correctly, and also he had just pure haste. So you need to balance your haste with your melee attacks, because if you have pure haste, then you don't have enough auto attack damage to utilize your haste. And if you go it the other way around, if you go pure attack power, then you don't have enough haste to utilize your attack power. So pure attack power is really bad. The if you're going with my build, my current build, then Stark is the best gem you can possibly have, and that's this one, 20 attack power, 10 haste. And that's because it balanced themselves out. My speed is 750, which is actually, it's okay. I'll probably want around 1.96, 95, 96, somewhere around that. But then again, my my relic gives me 220 haste. And when I'm on the topic of relic, this is the best relic you can possibly have. You should not have any other relic because it gives you free 220 haste. So my haste in combat is about 1000, which is very good. It's about 38%, and that's good enough, right? So currently I'm probably haste capped, or I am haste capped. So now I want to focus on getting my high damage up. I want to get it to about 2250, around there, without buffs, of course, but I don't really have any buffs right now that counts. So yeah, that's gems, and that's a little bit about trinkets. Then again, if you want to go for this trinket, then it gives you hit, so you don't really have to gem hit. But what you have to do then is that you have to go pure haste. And honestly, I would not recommend this, because this trinket, I tested this trinket out with my current build, but I gave the trinket away. The reason why I tried it is that I want to see the exact damage. And Flame Shock, it is basically another Flame Shock you get, because Tiny Abomination deals about as much damage as your Flame Shock during a 5-minute fight. I tried it on Blood Queen, and I tried it on Prince Council, and it did about the same damage as my Flame Shock, and my Flame Shock deals I don't know, like 600 to 800 DPS. So basically this is not an upgrade, because STS will help me do more than 800 DPS under 15 seconds, which just increases my DPS, right? So this trinket is a no-go. I will not use it if you're going with my current build, and honestly people just copy me, so yeah, you're probably gonna do the same, right? So this, no, don't do this. Go these two. These are the best, right? So that's a little bit about gems and hit cap and stuff like that. Of course you can go like spell power trinkets and stuff. I haven't really tried that spec yet. I want to try it out, because again, people, I don't know what the hell people are doing in this class, but clearly they can't play it. So yeah, just gem until you're hit capped and expertise capped, and my recommendation is go stock 20 attack power, 10 haste, because it's good, because it gives you both, so you balance yourself out, right? Right, so we have that clear. Glyphs, when we're doing glyphs, we're gonna go with Feral Spirit, we're gonna go with Storm Strike, and we're gonna go with Wind Fury Weapon. Apparently, Wind Fury Weapon is bugged, blah 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 blah. So it's not really 22%. I think it's like 18% with this glyph, which is, yeah, it just increases your chance, right? So that's good. This is a must-have. Storm Strike also must-have, because you need to use Earth Shock and Lightning Bolt all the time. And finally, Feral Spirit. The reason why you have to use Feral Spirit is because you don't have enough burst otherwise to compete with other classes, because you're always gonna pop your CDs, right, in the beginning of a fight. So let's say a Ret Repellent pops wings and you don't have this glyph, then you're not gonna compete with any DPS classes if you don't have this glyph. And if you have a bad start, then your entire fight is gonna be bad. You're gonna be at the bottom of the meters, right? So that's glyph. There's nothing really much more to say. Some people ask me about what about Lightning Bolt, 4% Lightning Bolt, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because since Lightning Bolt is your best ability in this spec, it's your absolute #1 priority. It's not gonna do you any good, because this is a class with high sustained damage. You're always gonna do high damage. And 4% on your highest ability is not going to do enough, so you always go Feral Spirit. You always want the 30% additional attack power, because Feral Spirit is going to do like as much as your auto attacks if you have this glyph, and that's basically another you just auto attacking, right? So it's a really good glyph. Nothing else. Don't go anything else, unless you're paying PvP maybe, but you know. Okay, so enchants and professions, right? So let's start with tailor. Oh, let's start with blacksmithing. Okay, so blacksmithing, what does it do? It gives you another gem on wrist and another gem on hands, right? And that's good. That's good. I mean, you can go with it if you want to. I haven't really tried it because, again, I don't mind. I don't want, since my haste is already so in a good spot. I don't want additional 40 attack power, 20 haste, or 40 haste, or whatever, because I don't feel it necessary. Honestly, it doesn't feel necessary to me to get more haste, because honestly I don't really need more haste. I need some more, but not that much. Or I don't want to switch it out for 130 attack power on my wrist. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm getting spammed, sorry. Yeah, so blacksmithing, it's up to you. Leatherworking, I have, because it gives me 130 attack power. So the highest enchant you can have without leatherworking is 50 attack power. So you get like 80 attack power on wrist, which is really good, really good if you have around the same haste as me. So that's why I chose leatherworking. It's really expensive, but it's really good. Jewel crafting, why I use jewel crafting is because I have 34 hit here, 34 hit there, and 34 hit there. And that, if I would have 20, 20, 20, it's 60, right? But now it's 34, 34, 34, so that's 102 hit instead of 60. So I gain 2 additional gems, or I gain 2 additional start gems. I get 20 attack power, 10 haste here, and 20 attack power, 10 haste here. So I can switch out other gems because I have these 2. And another very important thing is that if you have more than hit cap, it doesn't really matter, since again your basic attack damage comes from melee attacks, so you want to miss as little as possible, and being over the hit cap isn't as devastating, let's say, for enhancement as it is for like a Retri Paladin, right? So that's why I go jewel crafting, because 34 hit is really good. I would not go 34 expertise. I've seen some people do it, but like, why? You can just have expertise here, expertise, expertise, and then 2 expertise gems right here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 sockets that gives you expertise / hit. And that's fine, because you just want to pure go like hit and expertise on your sockets anyway. But since I have the 1% hit, since I'm a Draenei, I can afford going start gems, which is really good. I really like these gems. These gems are the pure best. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So I would recommend probably leatherworking, blacksmithing, jewel crafting. I'm gonna go through tailoring as well. Tailoring, it's been I had like a debate with this one guy who said nah, tailoring is much better because he gives you what, like 295 attack power or 400 attack power. I don't really know how much it gives, but it's a good enchant. I say nothing about that, but again, it gives me haste, right, which is really good because I want to balance out my haste with my attack power, right, or with my base damage. Basically, your speed should be 1/3 of your total power. My total power is about 6k and my speed is 2.0. So I need a little bit more haste to justify my attack power again, but it's so vague and it's such a little difference that it doesn't really make any difference. So yeah, you can go tailoring if you want. I would not recommend it, but sure, I mean, Okay. Maybe you can go tailoring if you're a fan of going 20 haste in everything, but again, I would not recommend that spec because it doesn't justify your melee or your attack card. And finally, enchanting. You can go enchanting, but it's just basically the same thing as leatherworking, because it gives you additional 80 attack power here instead of 80 attack power here and here, because it's 40 each, right? So it doesn't. It's basically the same as leatherworking. So just pick and choose whatever you want. So that's a little bit about enchants and professions. Of course, enchanting the rest, well, you should basically do basic math about, okay, what do I need to enchant? What do I want? Maybe I can switch out this 20 hit for 44 attack power. Example, if you have the ring that I don't have, the Band of the Colossus from Marogar 25 man. If you get that ring, well, that ring gives you 62 hit. So if I get that ring, I can change my enchant, I can change my gem, and I can change this gem. And then I have to do a little bit swapping around to get an expertise cap. But the point is, right now you should always focus being hit capped. Hit capped is the first thing you wanna get, you wanna accomplish. Get hit cap. It doesn't matter if you're a bit over capped. Just get hit capped. It's simple. Trinkets again. Tiny bomb. I would not recommend this trinket because it basically you can see it as, okay, how much does my flame shock do, and then just add another. I think mine does like 750 DPS by its own, and my tiny bomb did about the same damage, which is, yeah, an 800 DPS increase, which I would not recommend at all. So that's that. And the final most important thing about this spec is the rotation, and I can't tell you enough that people do not understand this rotation. I can't get why. So what's the first thing you want to do, right? The first thing you want to do before you start a fight, you pop wolves, right? You pop Spirit Walk, so you can run up to the boss fast. And of course, drop totems, the first thing you want, because you want your haste, you want your strength, and you want your magma, and then shamanistic rage. Either before or after you use Storm Strike, but you always want to use your totems before you use Storm Strike, because 20% haste applies to your Wind Fury weapon. So it gives you a higher chance of proccing an insta, and that's what you want. You want to get 5 stacks as fast as possible, and the first mistake people do is that they pop all the CDs, run up to the boss, then they press Storm Strike and they press Lava Lash, and like, that's the first wrong thing that you do. You don't use Lava Lash at all, basically. I don't have a dummy currently, and I'm really bad at ending, so I'm not gonna show you on dummy. I can if you want. Just request it in the comments below if you want to see me doing rotation. Okay, so when do you want to use Lava Lash? You want to use Lava Lash when you have, right after you have done your lightning bolt with 5 stacks. Why? Because it gives you another stack, and it has a chance of proccing Wind Fury. Because you have so much haste in combat that even if you auto attack with your offhand weapon, you're not gonna notice that you also attack with your main hand, which has Wind Fury, which gives you a chance of proccing like 2 to 3 Maelstorms insta, right? So the rotation basically is, the way I do it is that Wolves, Totems, Shamanistic Rage, Storm Strike, Flame Shock, or Flame Shock before, it doesn't really matter at this point. And then, if I'm really lucky, then I have a Lightning Bolt. proc already after 2 abilities. If I don't have that, then I still don't want to use Lava Lash. Then I want to use Fire Nova, and we're gonna go into when you use Fire Nova and stuff as well. And basically after my Fire Nova, I need to have 5 stacks. Like, it doesn't happen very often that I don't. But if I don't, I still don't use Lava Lash. I go to Earth Shock. And then it's like 100% because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 globals. And that's 2.5 seconds of auto attacking, and then I have 5 stacked. Like, yeah, I do. It's just, yeah, I have 5 stacks. I use my Lightning Bolt, and then I use Lava Lash. Lava Lash is always going to be at the bottom of your damage meter because it deals so bad damage. It's only a way to regenerate Maelstrom procs. And then my Storm Strike is up again, and the rotation can begin again. Storm Strike, Flame Shock, Lightning Bolt, Fire Nova, Earth Shock, etc, etc. I talked to some guy and he said, we talked about the most complex class, and he said something along the lines of enhancement is easy, all you do is Storm Strike on cooldown and Lava Lash. But that just proves that honestly people are retarded on the server, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I also got some questions about talents, and talents I can go through it. It's gonna take a few minutes though because it's so much that you need to know. First question first here is enhancing totems increases the effect of your strength averse totem. Why do you need this? Because it's the best goddamn spec it's the best goddamn talent in the spec, basically. It gives me, instead of 155 strength and agility, it gives me 178. There's no other class in this game that gives 178 strength and agility to all party members. This is such a good talent. It's a basic damage increase, right? Always pick this one. This one, Wind Fury Totem, increases your melee haste. You don't need this if you're raiding with a Frost DK, but again, you can't really always, like, you can't really say that, oh, I'm gonna raid with a Frost Death Knight every single raid, because you don't know that. So just pick this one. It gives you 20% melee haste. Melee haste, like, you need that. No question, take it. Very basic stuff. This one increases your hit chance while dual wielding by additional 6%. This is not going to passively go into your hit. It's not. My hit is not at like what, 13, 14. I don't have 20% hit. That's insane. I don't. The reason why this exists is because it just gives you passively increases your chance to hit while dual wielding by additional 6%, because you're gonna miss more than you're gonna hit, because enhancement has so much crit, right? You have so much damn crit that every single auto attack is going to basically crit, and the ones that don't crit is gonna miss. And the reason why this talent exists is because you're not gonna miss more than you crit, or miss more than you hit that, or crit, because all your hits are crits. Do you follow? This does not passively count towards my hit as this one do. Okay? And I also, so yeah, always pick this one. Don't mind it. It does not give you 6% passive hit. It does not. Okay? So you still need 14%. You can't have 6, you can't have 8% hit. I mean, you can try it, but you're gonna miss every single fucking auto attack, right? And this one, improved Storm Strike. I got a question about this yesterday. I don't need it because I'm doing a raid spec, right? I'm raiding. This is, if you want to put this talent in, sure, but then you're more of a dungeon, like you want to sustain your mana. But with Shamanistic Rage and Red Paladins and Shadow Priests and rest of the Druids and everything there is, you're not gonna go in a raid, especially when you have this one on a 1 minute cooldown that gives you 15% mana on your auto attack. So you're basically gonna get 17k mana back in what, like a GIF? You're never gonna go basically. So this talent, if you're above, let's say 6k gear score, you're not gonna need this talent, right? And I like this talent, Shamanistic. Again, it's mana, but I really like this one because it's good. But I would rather have 2% intellect, because due to this one, increases your attack power by 100% of your intellect. It gives me 2% more attack power because it gives me 2% more intellect, right? The rest is basically standard, nothing major going on. If you let's say you're 5.9, 5.8, 5.7 around there, if you're below 6.1k, let's say, I would still go for the mana talents, because you don't really have enough intellect on your gear to justify your mana and your mana cost on your abilities. Okay, so now comes the tricky part, the elemental tree. Here, some people just go around telling everyone, I don't know who, but I've heard people talk to other enhancement shamans that, oh, you always go this spec, and that's completely fucking wrong. Like, no, you don't always go this spec. Let's say again that you're below 6.1k and you don't have foresight, let's say. You don't go this talent. You don't ever go this talent, and I'm gonna explain why. You're probably gonna put those two talents maybe in here, or in here. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. It's basically preference. This gives you a little bit more attack power, and this gives you more sustain with your mana. Okay, so the reason why you don't always go Fire Nova is that you don't have enough spell damage to justify this talent. I talked to some guy, or showed some guy that was 5.8k, I think, and he asked me about this talent, and he went this talent, and his Fire Nova did about, I don't know, like 500 damage, and the reason why his Fire Nova deals up around 500 damage is that he doesn't have enough intellect to justify his spell power, because it gives you spell crit and it also gives you spell power. Intellect gives you spell power. That's why I have 1777 bonus damage. So my Fire Nova deals about 5 to 6k, and his was about 500. So this talent is a scaling talent, which means that you can put your points in this talent to improve your DPS when you have better gear. I would do it after you get 2 or 4 cent. It doesn't really matter. As long as you have around 6.1k, then you can invest your talent points in this, because your intellect is going to justify this talent. It's going to justify this spell. And it's going to apply to your rotation after you spec it. The Fire Nova always goes above Lava Lash in your rotation. Fire Nova is going to deal more damage than Lava Lash in a 5-minute fight, because it deals more damage. It costs more mana, but you have the mana to spend on this because you have justified your gear justifies your intellect, which increases your mana. So you can afford to use Fire Nova. It's a damn expensive spell, but it's really worth it when you have, let's say, 6.3 like I do. Okay, so that's the talents. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, you can just leave them down below. Just whisper me in game, I guess. But so, as I said in the beginning, the reason why I'm doing this video is because people just ask me every single day, and I can't, like, bore the fuck out of me to just answer the same questions every day. So I'm just gonna make a video about it. Basically, that's that. There's a few more things that you need to know. One basic thing that I see people do wrong as well is that you don't use Syrian Totem. You use Magma Totem, because it causes 426 compared to 138. I mean, these numbers are not accurate because your totem scales with your bonus attack power. So my magma totem crits like 3k and ticks for like 1.5k, and my searing totem shoots for, I don't know, let's say fucking 800 to 1000. Okay, but so you don't use searing totem, you always use magma totem since it deals more damage and even on single target, and that's another thing that I see people do wrong. So yeah, refresh your shield when it's about 2 stacks left, and use Shamanistic Rage on cooldown. It should not have a global cooldown, but for some reason on this server it does have a global cooldown. I don't really know what the fuck's up with that, but it's still basically a really good spell, and you want to use it as often as you can because you don't want to go home, right? And it doesn't cost mana, it just gives you mana and reduces damage taken, which is, yeah, it's just fine. So yeah, that's it. If I know I left a few things out. There's still like a ton of things that you need to read up on and go through. But if you want me to do another video about something, you can request it down below. And I hope this helped. I hope if you have any questions, otherwise you can whisper me in game. Just yeah. This is like a guide on how you should think according to this class. Just remember that Lava Lash is your least. It's just a filler ability. It's a very bad ability, so you do not use it. One thing that I forgot to add is that your shock spells scale with ability power, right? Earth Shock is a really good spell, and the reason, or the way that you want to do your rotation is that you want to do every other. So first you open up with Flame Shock, and then when your Earth Shock is has gone off cooldown, you use Earth Shock, and then your filler abilities, and then Flame Shock, Earth Shock, Flame Shock, Earth Shock, because it lasts for 18 or 14.6 seconds. So it's 6 seconds. Or 14 seconds, and it's a 6 second cooldown, right? So 6 seconds, then it's 8 seconds left. So you use that one, and then when your Flame Shock is back up, it's gonna have about 2 seconds left of the duration. So you press it again because you do not want to lose your Flame Shock duration on your target. It's gonna happen sometimes because your Maelstrom sometimes is just gonna go nuts and proc all the time, and if it does, then you always use Lightning Bolt before you use Flame Shock, because basically the only reason why you use Flame Shock is to get your 220 haste, but it lasts for 30 seconds, so it's not gonna expire ever during a fight. It's never ever going to, and if it does, then you need to really practice using Flame Shock. But Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock and Flame Shock, those are your prior one abilities to use. That was a little bit vague, but I hope you get the point. But so yeah, just if you have any questions, just leave it down in the description. And I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.